Hello everybody, I'm making this video in relation with the birth of the solar system. I'm going to try to explain how come we have the solar system the way it is today. Since I have seen on Facebook a lot of discussions and a lot of strange stories regarding the solar system evolution over time, but none of them is satisfactory. I'm going to try to explain the way I see it and how I think we have the solar system as it is today. Now, what I find is strange, just by looking at the way it is today, it finds strange that all the planets are spinning in the same direction with the surface of the sun, and they are all in one plane. Why is this not natural? If we look into the universe, everywhere we look, the universe is the same. We have the same amount of galaxies, and they are distributed pretty much the same. So what we should see in our solar system, we should see planets everywhere, spinning randomly around the sun, but we don't see that. So my understanding is that whatever happened, if we have had this situation in the past, evolution led to this current situation. Now, if it were for me to guess, and you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to understand it, the main trigger is this bigger element that we have in our solar system, which is the sun. Another strange element that I can see here, that we have smaller planets here and big planets here. If I do something strange and I overlap these four planets here with these four giants and I put them here, I must say I have a much more homogeneous solar system. My understanding is that somewhere in the past, the solar system was somehow like this. So we are going to start from this hypothesis. Many billions of years ago, we have had this, which is the future sun. And around it, a lot of protoplanets, let's call them by that, or dwarf planets or gas giants, or a combination between them, and I'm going to say there were more than we have today, and I'm going to call 100. Feel free to put more or less, but I'm going to say that at this early stage, before the star ignited, there were 100 planets. For the demonstration that I am going to use, you will see later why. Now, some of these planets were unlucky, they were so close to the sun, they fell in. Others were so far away, they were left outside. But the majority of this 100, for sure more than 8, they were somehow captured by this star ignition. And we have this situation. Now you have to understand, I have made here only 4 or 5, but you have to imagine something like 50, 60 or 70 planets spinning randomly around the sun in all directions. Now this is a normal situation, and I think our solar system should be like this. And why I say this, because if I look at the surface of the sun, right now the sun spins like this. But a normal situation would be a sun not spinning in any clear direction and having a lot of solar storms all over it, which will bring to a homogeneous surface. This should be the standard situation of the sun and not this one. The question is, how did we end up from this to this? Well, we have to see how this happens. Now, these planets, as they circle around the sun, when they come closer, they lose part of their atmosphere. What is atmosphere? I have to mention, atmosphere is this. This is an atmosphere, and this is a solid core. I want to call it these gas giants. My understanding is they all have, in fact, not solid cores, but planets. These are the planets, and this is an atmosphere. What we have here is nothing. These 4 planets, somehow they have lost their atmosphere. Now this happens when you circle around the sun in this period only, you lose atmosphere. And when you are far away, you don't lose atmosphere. Now, these planets collide with each other, reducing their number. And many years later, we have these planets. So this is a natural phenomenon. You see the craters on the moon. This is the period when planets collide, spreading debris in all directions, reducing their natural number to a much smaller number which we have today. But the question remains, how come we don't see them spinning them around in all directions? What happened? Something must have happened, something very strange. Now, if I have a planet spinning around the sun, this is the sun, the planet will leave a trace over the surface of the sun according to its gravity, like this. And this is a planet on an elliptical trajectory. When it spins around the sun, if there is, let's say, 10 centimeters gravity, it will first reach a point, then it will grow, then it will come to a point and the planet will move aside, like this. So what will happen? The molecules, the gas on the surface of the sun is going to spin in this direction. What we have now is a situation when all the planets spin randomly and push randomly the surface of the sun in all directions. Now, this is something very strange because it's not clear how come we ended up from this situation to this very stable situation of the surface of the sun spinning all in the same direction. Now, there is an explanation for this. My explanation is that we have had a very strange alignments of the planets. So, if we have enough time in this universe, which is something that we have, even the rarest event occurs with probability of almost 100%. So, what happened? We have a planet pushing this in this direction like this. In this direction. Then another planet came more or less in the same direction, pushing the surface of the planet in this. And probably a fourth one was exactly in this same direction to push the molecules from the surface of the sun until this point. Now this closes a circle, and this mechanism is fundamental because this mechanism is perpetuum mobile. The molecules from the gas or the mass, you want to call it, from the surface of the sun now spins in this direction without anything stopping it. Now, friction should stop it. There is no friction with the outside, but there is friction with this mass of the sun. So this friction slows it down, and with the molecules inside the sun, this ring of mass slows down. But these planets are coming back, and each time they give another kick to this ring. Now this ring is the plane where all the planets eventually will end after some millions of years. Now this mechanism, someone will say, how do I know it was not cancelled by other alignments of the other planets? We don't know. But since we have today the planets like this one of these rings must have remained closed. Now, the element which we have to understand, and I'm going to try to explain this based only on Newton distribution of forces, that we have two situations with the sun. One situation is when gravity pushes in the center of the sun, coming from all directions, which means the sun standing still and sun moving in this direction. In this case, if I have here 100 units of gravity, here I have 100 units plus, let's say, 1, the spinning force in this direction. This 1, I'm guessing a value, it's a fundamental concept because this 1 pushes all these planets lower to the plane of this direction. And these 3 or 4 planets are the first one to arrive in this disk. If you want Mercury, Venus, the Earth. Later on, the others will come, those which are far. And the mechanism is this one. What happens? Now, each time a planet passes around this ring, this force brings it down a little. Now, a little here, let's make a drawing to understand this better. If this is the sun, the distribution of forces is this, if the spin direction is like this one. So if I have a planet on this trajectory, each time I am passing through this period, only here, I am pushed in this direction. So this trajectory effect is like this. If this is 1 meter here, it's a lot of meters here. On the other side of the sun, the mechanism is similar, but it's in the other direction. So after millions of years, the planet moves like this and ends up spinning in the same direction with this slice of mass from the sun. Now this slice also pushes the mass upwards and outwards in the same direction. The phenomenon takes millions of years. Eventually, all the surface of the sun moves in this direction and the phenomenon is amplified. And the planets remain in this plane. It takes some time, but eventually they will all end here. Let's put this theory to the test. This is a planet arriving to our solar system to a trajectory, let's say elliptic, more or less circle, and it's captured by the sun, but it spins in the other direction. And it doesn't spin in the same plane, but there is an angle here, a very important angle. What is going to happen? Each time the planet enters the plane, I have this effect. So if I am here and the rotation is this direction, the planet is going to move like this. On the other side, the effect is in this direction. So the planet is going to move like this. This will be the effect. And it will take millions and millions of years. Eventually, the planet having this movement will end up in the same situation with all the other planets, spinning in this direction. This is a phenomenon which proves to me that the mechanism is working. At this level, nothing special happens. The planet remains in the same plane with all the other planets until the end of time. How do I know I am right? There is another way we can see it. There is Eris, discovered by the scientist, which is at 44 degrees from this plane, but it's not here, it's not upward. My guess is if you give it enough time, it will go down here, but you have to give some millions of years for it. Another way I know I am right, because the mechanism applies similar to Saturn. These rings were asteroids spinning in these directions many millions of years ago. Eventually, they all went down to this disk, destroying each other. And what we have today are just the remains of these asteroids. Now, this is how I see it, how I understand the evolution of the solar system over time. If you think that I am some sort of an error, please write to me. I am open for any kind of discussion. Feel free to hit whatever I have showed here. Thank you for watching.